Welcome to Thriving Tribesmen. My name is Kuri, your host, and I'm excited to be making this episode. When it comes to being in a sexless relationship, one of the things that actually nobody really talks about is the mental health impact that happens on a guy. In fact, a lot of the mental health issues that most men have is coming from this part of their life where they're sexless and they do not know how to change it. Now, a lot of you guys have gone through the paths of listening to podcasts like this, or read books, or, actually bought courses, or been part of programs, and you've been trying so hard to change this. And some of you have hit a place where you've hit a limit and you don't really know what else should I do in order to change this. And hopefully today we're going to tackle some of this part of the mental health issue side of things. And before we go ahead, I need to say this. I'm not a doctor. If you are suffering from depression or some sort of mental health issues, speak to a professional. I did once upon a time, I was actually ideating the specific day I was going to end my life when I was suffering with depression. I managed to get a phone call from my mom, out of all people, and she just had an intuition to ring me and speak to me. And on that day, I realized that me ending my life was going to cause so much pain and chaos. So therefore, I had no option but to seek help. So I did manage to get a therapist, and it was the best thing that I've ever done because he was incredible. And some of the stuff that I know now, it's stemmed from meeting with him. So I can understand where some of you guys are, or some of the things that you are going through. Like I said, you need to get to see a professional. Now, over the period of time, I've spoken to many guys that have been in this situation. And there's also other things now that I know that you can do in order to start changing your relationship now. Because there's a few times when I've spoken to a few guys when I've said, go and speak to a professional. They've gone to a doctor, and all they've done is give them medication. Now, I'm not saying don't be on medication, but being on medication is not actually dealing with the root cause of what's causing you to be in a mental health issue. So it just masks the actual issue. So if you're in a sexless relationship and then you get into depression and then you take medication to not be depressed, I think you just increasing your serotonin levels or allowing your serotonin receptors to be sensitive. By the way, I'm not a medic, or I'm not medically qualified, but I know enough to know that some of the medications, that's what they do in order to make you feel good. But what it doesn't do is that it doesn't change your behaviors. It doesn't change your habits that are causing you to be in a sexless relationship. So it becomes this perpetual thing. So you have to start acting differently in order to change the state that you're in. So this episode has been inspired by one of my close friends, a former client, and he went through a divorce, and he was saying that professionally he feels like he's not functioning correctly because he's still affected massively by the whole situation. And it's been over a year now that this divorce has happened, or it's been over a year since the separation, and only recently the divorce. And I was speaking to him, and he was wondering, like, I don't really understand why I'm not being able to get over this. And I was just saying to him that it is normal to be thinking that way. It is normal to be suffering depression because you're having to put yourself through, or at least coming to terms with the fact that the person that you love, that you decided to spend your rest of your life with, that person is no longer the person that you're going to be spending the rest of your life with. And all those dreams and all those plans and things that you'd done, they've all come to shatters. So now you have to figure out what life is like without them. And the other piece is that you've got two children, and because you've got those two children, you know that they're innocent, and having to see them go through this horrible situation is something that most men would find it very difficult. So I can understand why you're in depression. And again, it doesn't mean that you're less of a person because you're suffering depression. It's just the part, it's just one of the things that is going to happen because of the situation that you find yourself in. So as we were talking about this, and I said, in order to actually move things along, especially from a professional standpoint, he was talking about some of the things that he wanted to achieve, but is not quite capable of achieving. And I said, I think a lot of times when it comes to being in a depressive state, a lot of people, they feel this state, and then because they're not moving, what tends to happen, or at least they get into depressive state, and then they don't react to it in terms of doing something that is positive. And then by not doing something that is positive, it's a perpetual cycle of I feel depressed, so I don't want to do anything. And then you feel shitty for not doing anything. And then by you feeling shitty, then you end up in a depressive state. So it becomes this perpetual thing. So you have to stop that loop and then do something different. Now, I was born in the 80s, and there's a time when we had cassettes. Now, I don't know if any of you know I'm too young to know what a cassette is. But I remember the time when I would buy these blank tapes, and what I would tend to do is that whenever there was a really, really cool song that I liked, I would sit by the radio. In fact, we used to have these radios, and what the radio did do when the cassette player, it had these two buttons that you press. You press the play button, and then you press the record button at the same time. And what it would tend to do is will record what's being played on the station. So you would sit by the radio, and then the DJ would say, this song is about come on, and then you'd be like, oh yeah, that's my favorite song, and then you press those buttons and then you'll replay. So you could have a whole cassette full of really, really good music that you like. The other piece was that sometimes somebody would have an album on a cassette, and if you like that album, you could what we call dubbing. You would take the cassette, put it into a different deck, and then you could record that other cassette. So you can rewrite that onto another cassette. So basically what I'm trying to say is that you have already information that is with you right now that is causing you to be in a depressive state. In order to rewrite what's going on, or dub over, you need to dub over some of that information, especially the information that's keeping you in a place where you're in a depressive state. And how you do it is actually strategizing things that you know you should be doing. In this case, he knows what he's meant to be doing, but he has this paralysis from analysis. So therefore, it's preventing him from doing stuff, which is now making him even more depressed. And then by him feeling more depressed, he doesn't make any more moves. And then, so by stopping the cycle and really strategizing and say, okay, what are these positive things that I need to do? Now, for you guys, it could be professional. It could be a case that you feel depressed. At the moment, things are not quite moving the way they should. I personally would be taking a course, maybe joining the community. Now, if that's not for you at this moment in time, that's okay. I would take on professional courses. So in terms of the weekend, I'll be like, okay, the weekend I'm going to go and take this professional course. It's necessary for my career development. I would focus on that. And again, by doing so, it's a positive step. As you start seeing momentum in that, it will allow you to start seeing momentum everywhere else. So again, that's one. And the other bit is more even just if you're a parent, focusing on parenting. One of the things that I've been doing lately is really being intentional with the time that I have with my kids. So especially with my daughter, because I spend most of my time with my daughter. My son is older, so you spend less time. But with my daughter, I'm quite intentional with the way we talk, the way things I say. When she says, "Can we go and do something?" Even though I'm extremely tired, I'm willing to do it because I know that the time period that we have where she wants to spend time with me is finite. So I make the best of the moments that I can in order to maximize that. And again, being able to see those things and then put your time into that is one of those positive steps where you're dubbing over some of the negative thoughts that you're feeling. So again, this is different strategies around it. One of the ones that, like I said, you can have a professional one. You can have projects that are at home. So you can start taking on some projects around the house, and you're not doing them to score points so that you can have sex, but you're doing them for your own personal achievement. So I know some guys that have taken on stuff like woodwork, for example, as a hobby, and then by doing so and spending more time learning about doing something, it builds that internal confidence, and then that internal confidence becomes something that is attractive to their partner. So this dubbing effect is really important. Now, again, the reason why this is important about the dubbing and how you feel and depressive, one thing that I can guarantee you is that she's not going to be sexually attracted to you when you are in a depressive state. I'm just going to say that one more time. She's not going to be attracted to you if you are in a depressive state. It's not an attractive state. It's not going to make you feel attractive. So it's really important that, again, if it's overwhelming to the point where you really, really, really don't know what to do, I would go into therapy. And again, if I don't know, I might have to make an episode on how to recognize a really good therapist. But also, if that's not the case, it's really trying to figure out what are those things that I've been sort of procrastinating on that I know I should be doing, but I'm not doing them. By doing that, again, it's going to start doing that dubbing effect. The other bits that you can do is that if she already doesn't speak to you and you don't spend enough time together, I would be going for salsa, for example. Latin dancing is a good way of really building your confidence and getting over depression. Again, also getting over the putting her on a pedestal. Again, it helps with that. Doing improv classes, doing acting classes. Again, this is going to help with the body language, line delivery, how to construct like comedic lines and all of that. That's really, really important. It will help with that. It will help you to calibrate people's state as you're communicating information. So all of that stuff is important. It's massively out of most people's comfort zones. Doing that is one of the steps that's going to help you to actually start dub over some of those negative emotions. So thank you very much, guys. I thought I'll make that episode for you guys so you can start thinking about this. If you've got any questions around this, you can contact me on thriving_tribesmen on Instagram, and I'll get back to you. If you've got any questions or any suggestions for a topic, then just let me know and I will get you get that to you as well. If you want a custom made seduction blueprint, just type in blueprint and then I'll be able to send you information on how to actually get that. So thank you very much, guys. I'll be seeing you guys soon. Take care.